Welcome, travelers of time, to Marinage Black. Thank you for joining us as we step into the shadows of history, where myths breathe and ancestors speak. This week we bring you a story untold for centuries. The fall of the Allepánto and the rise of fields, a legend of fallen giants, human ingenuity, and the soil that refused to stay silent. We hope it stirs your spirit and your imagination. Now, let the whispers of the forest begin. The fall of the Allepánto and the rise of fields. There was a time when the Arawak people had no cassava and suffered widespread hunger. Even the animals had little to eat and grew malnourished. Only Taíno, a tapper, ventured out every morning, returning each evening glowing with health and full of rich food. The other animals, seeing the remnants of his meals, banana peels and sugarcane scraps, said to one another, "Pino must have found a fertile place. Let's follow him. Perhaps we too can feast from now on." The next morning they tasked the forest rat with quietly trailing Pino. It worked. The rat followed Pino deep into the forest and finally saw him stop beneath a massive tree to gather fallen fruits. That tree was the Allepánto. Everything a person could desire grew on its branches. Corn, bananas, cassava, yams, pineapples, and more. Once Pino had filled his belly, the rat climbed the tree and gorged on corn until it could eat no more. Then it descended with a corn kernel clutched in its paw to show the others what it had found. The next morning, the Arawak followed the rat to the tree. When they arrived, they saw a great pile of bananas, yams, taro roots, and pineapples beneath it, all dropped by the tree since the previous day. The Arawak ate until they were stuffed. Not a single fruit remained. Next, they tried climbing the tree to harvest more, but the trunk was too smooth and thick. They devised a plan. They would chop it down to reach the bounty. They built a scaffold around the trunk and began hacking at the tree with stone axes. For 10 days they labored, but the tree stood firm. After another 10 days they had made little progress. Thirsty from their work, they gave all the animals a calabash and asked them to fetch water. But Pino received a calabash riddled with holes, like a sieve. When the animals reached the river, they drank first from their own gourds. Pino, however, could scoop water endlessly. It simply drained out. This was his punishment for greedily hoarding the secret of the generous tree. After another 10 days of toil, they finally felled the tree. The Arawak claimed cassava, sugarcane, yams, taro, bananas, pumpkins, and watermelons as their share. Auri, Wana, and the other animals climbed the branches and took what food they could use. When Pino finally returned from the riverbank and saw only plums left for him, he raged. To this day, the tapper atones for his selfishness, surviving on nothing but plums. The Arawak carried everything they could take from the miracle tree back to their village and planted fields. The king vulture taught them about crops, how to cultivate and prepare them. He warned them to always cook bitter cassava thoroughly before eating. Thank you for walking this path with us today. Subscribe to never miss a story and share this legacy of resistance. Until next week, stay curious, keep listening,